"Excuse me, sir," the woman said softly. Victor barely looked up from his expensive meal. "Yes?" he asked, a clear tone of irritation creeping into his voice. He was a man used to getting what he wanted, and right now he wanted to be left alone. "My son," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "He hasn't eaten all day. I was wondering if you could help. Just a little—" Victor let out a long, dramatic sigh, as if the very idea of compassion was a terrible burden. He reached into his tailored pocket, pulled out a thick leather wallet, and flipped it open. The wallet was overflowing with credit cards and crisp bills. But then he stopped, not because he had nothing to give, but because he simply didn't want to. "I don't carry cash," he said flatly, the lie hanging in the air. He then waved her away with a dismissive flick of his wrist, as if she were nothing more than a puff of smoke. The woman's shoulders sagged in defeat. The little boy, holding her hand tightly, looked down at the floor. They turned to leave, the weight of their world pressing down on them. But that's when Ethan saw them. Ethan had been sitting at a small table in the corner, nursing a single cup of coffee he'd been making last for an hour. He had been watching quietly. He saw the cold way Victor dismissed them. He saw the flash of shame and embarrassment in the woman's eyes. Most of all, he saw the raw, gnawing hunger etched on the child's face, something twisted in his chest. It was a feeling he knew all too well. Ethan stood up. "Wait," he said. The word, though not loud, cut through the low chatter of the restaurant. Everyone turned. Victor paused with his fork halfway to his mouth. The woman and her son froze, their backs to him. Ethan walked toward her slowly, deliberately. He wasn't rich, he wasn't powerful. In fact, he was struggling to make ends meet, working 2 jobs just to keep a roof over his head. He reached into his own worn pocket, the fabric thin from use. He pulled out a $1 bill. It was folded, soft, and creased from being his constant and only companion. It was the last dollar he had to his name until his next paycheck. He held it out to her. "I know it's not much," Ethan said gently, his voice full of a warmth that contrasted sharply with Victor's icy tone. "But it's all I have right now." The woman stared at the single, worn bill. Then she looked up at him, really looked at him, and saw not pity, but genuine kindness in his eyes. Tears welled up, spilling silently down her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. The little boy, seeing his mother's tears of relief, finally let a small, hopeful smile grace his face. It was the first time he had smiled all day. And in that moment, an incredible thing happened. The entire room fell silent. The clinking of cutlery stopped. Conversations died mid-sentence. All eyes were on this simple, profound exchange. They had all witnessed Victor's wealth and his poverty of spirit. Now they were witnessing Ethan's poverty of wallet and his immense wealth of heart. The man who had everything gave nothing. The man who had nothing gave everything. Victor, feeling the weight of 100 silent judgments, suddenly felt his expensive meal turn to ash in his mouth. He looked at his overflowing wallet, then at Ethan's empty hand. For the first time, he felt a different kind of poverty, a deep, hollow emptiness that his millions couldn't fill. This story isn't just about a dollar. It's a powerful reminder that true wealth is unmeasured by what you have in your bank account, but by what you have in your heart. It's about the value of compassion, the power of a single act of kindness, and the understanding that sometimes giving your last dollar makes you the richest person in the room. We all face moments where we can choose to be a Victor or an Ethan. We can choose to look away, or we can choose to see. We can choose to hoard what we have, or we can choose to share, even when it's all we have. What does it mean to be truly wealthy? Is it the number in your bank account or the size of your heart? Think about the Ethans in your own life, the people who give generously from what little they have. Their kindness is a quiet force that changes the world, one small act at a time. It's a reminder that we can all make a difference. We don't need millions. Sometimes all we need is the courage to offer our last dollar. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more inspiring content. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it, and let's spread a little more kindness in the world together. See you in the next one.